All right, hello, welcome to Bitcoin Design Community Call number 56. And as of the last version or edition, we basically thought that this is a good one to make about planning. As one of the people who's involved in a lot of different projects and events, that's something that's a lot of on my mind. I don't know how much it is on yours. We can talk about anything other than that as well. In the last call, we talked quite a bit about organizing the designathon in fall. Um, then we have an accessibility day in May. Someone suggested doing something for International Women's Day in March. Yeah, that's already coming up. We added a Sapbot to Discord, which is anyone using that? Have you used that? No. Have you set it up?
I haven't even heard of it. You can zap posts like on Nostr and
Okay.
send.
Okay, so in the Bitcoin Design Discord, just type in / and then you should get a list of suggestions. And the first 5 should be an orange little circle with a kebab in there.
Oh, I see
You
it.
should see history, connect, help. So if you do connect, then you can link a Nostr wallet connect thingy, probably via Albi. And then whenever you add the lightning emoji or reply to a post, it will automatically send that person 21 sats, I think. And if someone does it in your post, you'll automatically get sent 21 sats. And then if you do /history, then you can see which ones you received. Like I received one. I received 217 sats from Bob, but it failed. And then I received 217 sats from Bob 7 days ago. I sent some to a few. One of them expired. I sent 221 sats to Jakob. That worked. So yeah, you can just send Bitcoin around. And if you go further up in Discord, there's a video that shows how to do it.
Okay, I'm taking a note. Post it. Put it on my.
Set it up. Let me copy that message link. Yeah, I mean, with Albi and Lightning address, it's a pretty custodial thing, but still something fun and playful.
No, yeah, it looks sick. I don't have Albi installed on this computer, so I don't know if I can do it. I was looking for an option to connect like Phoenix or something, but I think it has to have. Yeah, I have to look into it. I have to set it up through NWC first or something.
Yes. So that's NWC is Nostr Wallet Connect. And I think what it basically does, it uses Nostr as a communication channel to then use Lightning address, which is basically LNURL, like separate servers, to then manage the payments. So Discord, if I said emoji, the bot will pick it up. It will check if that user has a Lightning address connected to them, and then it will talk to that Lightning address and say, "I'd like to give me a Lightning invoice. I'll send that to you." And on my side, me being the sender, there's a thing called LNURL withdraw, I think, where I can set an allowance, and I give that Discord bot an allowance, and then it will use parts of that allowance to then send it to other people. So yeah, there are a bunch of moving parts in between, which is a little bit messy and very custodial, but still fun. Should give it a try. Don't just
There's a post-it on my monitor now to remind me.
Okay.
That's my to-do list is post-its these days.
Yeah. So the only I don't know what topics you have. The only one that I put in there for today was BTC Prague, and Loic mentioned that he'd be interested in visiting. Tanishka mentioned she might be interested in helping organize, maybe also attend. Michael, you live there anyways,
Yep.
and but But real quick, before we get into BTC Prague, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything design, Bitcoin, any personal issues you'd like to share? Any other events or activities?
Not really. The only ones around BTC Prague, and then then inheritance wallet that I'm working on, but that's more for a design guide jam session.
Mhm.
So, and other than that, I was on holiday last week.
Is anyone planning to attend any other Bitcoin events, meetups, conferences?
Going to Hong Kong in May.
Ooh. I've heard, no, not Hong Kong, but what event is that?
That's a BTC Bitcoin Magazine, BTC Asia.
BTC Asia. Okay.
Yeah, it's the first one they're doing in Asia because they do obviously like Nashville and Miami, they've done Amsterdam, and this is their Asia one.
Mhm.
When in May is that?
I think the second week of May.
May 9 and 10.
Yeah, that's good because on your way back you can take it to Oslo for the Freedom Forum and then to BTC Prague and then go
Yeah.
home.
I mean, I always go to the Freedom Forum every year, and because I'm in Sweden, so it's super close.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind going to Prague. I haven't really thought about it. So yeah, maybe I could squeeze that as well. That's not very far.
What takes you to Hong Kong? You just kind of want to see the city, or is there like some specific event or something about this conference, or you just kind of want to take the whole thing?
Well, I've wanted to go to Hong Kong for a while. I'm kind of interested in like Chinese culture, Chinese history, but I actually applied for a speaker role, and I said, hey, I'd like to talk about eCash and designing for eCash and what problems I think eCash solves. And they're like, yeah, that sounds cool. Like, we'll be glad to give you a slot. So
Awesome.
we're doing that as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you get the tickets paid as a speaker, or do you have to? No. Okay.
No, I asked about that. I was like, hey, any type of assistance on flights or hotel would be greatly appreciated. They said they don't do that for speakers, which I'm not sure if I fully believe, but I was like, okay.
It really depends on conference. I've heard very, very different things. I mean, some conferences are just a bit more scrappy, and others are different, I guess. Yeah, very cool, very cool. So yeah, with so the big thing with Prague is that last year was the first one, and Michael being in Prague was in connection and still is probably with the Trezor people who organize it. And then somehow the idea came up that we helped them organize a design track at their hack day. So there's a hack day, and then there's 3 or 4 days of main conference. And the main conference is also split up. There's kind of a industry day where basically only people who work in the field hang out. And then there might be 2 public days. I think that's how it is, where any person can just visit. So you kind of have 3 different things, and the hack day is at a different event. So the design community also got sponsored a booth. So we somehow slipped into this whole thing where we're like, okay, cool, we'll take it. We're going to organize a design track, and we'll have a booth, and we'll just do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
we started small.
Yeah, but it just kind of happened there, and we tried to make the most out of it for hack day. It's in a hotel. They basically got the whole floor of a hotel. There were 3 bigger rooms. We got the smallest one, but we decided to organize sofas. So they weren't just regular chairs; they were just sofas, and it was all dark. And we had some neon light stuff set up, and we custom designed pillows that we put on all those sofas with like representing different designs. And we designed a whole card game that we could play. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we did. And then for the booth, we also designed like the background. We had kind of a slideshow there, and a few other things. And then, yeah, so it was a very cool experience. And let me pull up this issue here. There should also be. Yeah, here are some images of our booth design, our planning. Let me see. And I think there's some photos here from the newsletter. Like here's some photos from what went down. So yeah, we got this booth sponsored, but the experience was a bit, after 2 or 3 days, people were kind of tired of hanging out at the booth. It felt like it was a lot of work, and it didn't feel like we really necessarily reached out to people that were, there were a lot of people asking all kinds of random questions, but it didn't feel like it was super beneficial. And we're not going to get it sponsored this time, right? So the idea was maybe that but the organizers were very happy about how the design track at the hack day worked out. So they were like, cool, do you want to do this again? So the idea so far has been that maybe we will do another hack day design track, maybe with a similar format, just try to get more speakers and just do everything a little bit better and nicer and cooler, but kind of keep the similar thing. And maybe during the main conference, not do a booth, but maybe just do something more low-key. Maybe we'll just try to have like a design breakfast, or maybe at the conference we'll just kind of have a big Bitcoin design flag somewhere, take over some bench or table somewhere, and just hang out, or just rally, just have kind of a hangout type of thing happening. Maybe with some smaller things where we offer, like, I don't know, design review or just other stuff. So that's kind of where we are. Nothing's really planned at all so far. Yeah. Michael, do you have any? I mean, you're in contact with them directly. Do you have anything to add to this one?
Yeah. So there are really two parts. The hack day is really kind of separate, and I think it was even invite only. And this time, if I'm not mistaken, there is a certain amount of tickets that people can buy, and so the organizers of the conference are they are not associated with Satoshi Labs or Trezor. Trezor just happens to, or Satoshi Labs happens to be kind of the largest kind of sponsor, I think. And Stick, who organizes the Hack Day, is one of the founders of Satoshi Labs and Trezor. So that's how I got to know them. And yeah, about the booth, yeah, it was nice, but kind of, you always had to be there. You didn't, or at least I didn't talk to anyone or not to a lot of people. So Riga was much more kind of relaxed, and I think I got really good value out of Baltic Honey Badger, because I didn't have to kind of be at the booth. I don't know how Mo, Steven, and Christoph perceived it, but it was kind of, you always have to think about, oh, should I be at the booth? And it's kind of the value that you get out of it is, or that I got out of it at least, is kind of questionable. So to be a bit more underground or more casual, I think could serve as well. Have design t-shirts or something like that could be nice. But the hack day was really cool. I think that was that's nice. They keep the same hotel to not, once you get accustomed in the first iteration of the conference with a location, they didn't want to just change it up again, and you basically would have to start from scratch. So I think that's a good idea. Yeah, and I also just before the Bitcoin Core design call, I was on a call with one of the organizers that is in charge of the Czech stage there, because they asked me if I want to have a presentation or a session about inheritance, Miniscript, Frost, all these kinds of new developments. So I hope I get a free ticket, a speaker ticket at least. Yeah, and the industry day, anybody can go to the industry day. You just have to pay for it. The pass is the ticket is just like almost 3 times the price. So basically, you can do whatever you want. And there's also besides these three tickets, there is one that's called, I think, an expo ticket. It costs like 30 euros, and you get access to the expo part and maybe the Czech stage. The reasoning being that, you know, people who are kind of newbies and are not very deep into Bitcoin, they wouldn't pay like a couple €100 just to see a Bitcoin conference. So kind of to give an entry point or an entry ticket that is, you know, it doesn't kind of financially ruin you. That's the idea. You have a low key, like $30, I think it is, ticket, and you already get a lot of, you know, things out of it. So that's the general the gist of it. And last time we did kind of a tour through a small one through the old town of Prague with Stephen and Haley. Connor couldn't join it, so if anybody wants to come, I could kind of play a tour guide for the design community. You know, just pick some places, go see some things. Happy to do these kinds of things as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. It was really last year was the first time they did it, and it was really a good job. And to add on, so this is on like this big convention center, and there's this massive hall which is split in three parts. In the center, like tables, a little bit of a cafeteria. On one hand is this gigantic stage with hundreds of seats, and that's where all the talks were. And if you just got the expo ticket, you couldn't go in there. But the expo ticket was the other half. That's where all these little booths were, where you had a bunch of miners, you had a bunch of people selling, you know, crypto, steel, and like wallets, and Trezorlet and Fedi were kind of in the center. Then you had BTC Pay and Albi, and we were at our little corner there. And then there was like swag in one corner and a very small stage in the back. I didn't get to see any talks because I was just at the booth and running around all day long.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Which was the same for the hack day. I didn't see anything. It was just so busy. But it was still very cool experience.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised after seeing this and then going to Bitcoin Amsterdam, which is much smaller than BTC Prague was. Mm-hmm. Also people-wise. So and also the kind of the expo area in Amsterdam, I think, was about half the size. With all these booths, but it was a very nice location in Amsterdam. So that's it had a different feel for it, because exactly like you said, it's a big expo area.
Yeah, and how well, at first, I guess the big decision is like, should we organize this thing, and who wants to go, and who's kind of willing to commit and do stuff. And then we can gather ideas. Last year, we gathered a ton of different ideas. For example, I would have loved to have workshops where like someone sits down, gets a blindfold, and then has to make a transaction just to get a sense for accessibility. Or we set up a Fedimint and people have to try, like really get hands-on and try out all this stuff. Or a thing where you can do a design review or just all this stuff. So there's a bunch of stuff that we just didn't do that were just ideas. But maybe this year we could do a few different things. Last year, it was also a bit of a struggle to find speakers. I think I did 3 or 4 talks, including the introductory one, which I don't want to do again. So finding speakers and organizing that stuff, that's a huge help. There's all kinds of stuff to do. It's still, 4 months to go, right?
Yeah, it's June 13th, I think. So the hack day is on the 12th. So enough time.
So how's everyone thinking about this? How does this sound?
I think it sounds awesome. I mean, I'd like to get involved and participate. I like the idea of hands-on workshops and using it as a chance to to do like usability testing, to do like research with like everyday people, and also get them familiar with the kind of projects that Bitcoin design community is contributing to. So like there's like the Bitcoin core redesign, there's or even just open source projects, right? There's like Fedimint's process of like creating a Fedimint, like you said, we could run through that. We could even like set up like a Fedimint for Bitcoin design community and just have people, hey, try to join this. And if you successfully complete a 10 set transaction, you get a sticker, I don't know, something like that. Then we could learn and get feedback off of these things. So I'd be down for something that's like a space where people come in and like do hands-on, like almost like here's like cool Bitcoin toys you can kind of play with, whether that be like apps or like prototypes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that would be definitely something that I would also do. We had basically all talks last time, and I'd probably mix it up to do it like 50-50, or have it kind of dedicated. Well, if you have a dedicated corner in such a room, then you disturb each other. But the audience that is going to be there is very, these are the involved people already. So I probably wouldn't target it to complete newbies, but more to something like I would compare it probably to Honey Badger from the audience type. You have a couple of kind of let's say less involved people, but in general, I mean, you had people like Jimmy Song was there, all these kinds of people.
Yeah, I met Kalle there for the first time, the cashew person. Yeah. Here's the schedule we came up with. There was a talk about jobs to be done by Jan from Swan. We did present the Bitcoin Core app and saving Satoshi. We had a lunch where, I don't know, it was just a break basically. Transcend and Michael did a talk about inheritance.
Without knowing what I was talking about actually, because it was kind of pre my grant, and so this year I definitely feel much more comfortable and capable of kind of taking the burden a bit off of you. So
then there was a bit of a meta talk about what makes a healthy project. It was a bit more conversational, if I remember correctly, too. Then we had coffee and we created this Bitcoin design card game we created. And Jakob talked about UX Research Kit. Then in the afternoon, we just broke it up. We did an AI session that was very interactive. And then we had a design duel that Steven led, which was total chaos.
Yeah, that was awesome, and everybody was already drinking beer anyway, so that was fun.
And he was blasting heavy metal music for some reason, and so it was there were different teams or designers that had like 15 minutes each to design something, and then they were judged, and someone won something in the end. That was just trying to have fun towards the end.
Yeah.
And all this, it was accessible to people with just the expo tickets?
No, that's the hack day is a special, or is a side event.
Oh, it's a side event, so it's even more accessible. Anyone can just show up. Do you need a ticket?
Nah,
you need an invite basically from the organizers. And this year I think you can just buy a ticket, but it is in a hotel. It's basically the conference rooms of a hotel, and there's limited space available, right? And it was kind of, it was an experiment that they did last year, and that's why it was invite only. I think you couldn't buy anything, or they gave away kind of a couple of to attract some of the people that they wanted to attract, and but still it's going to be like 300 people maybe, plus or minus.
So is this before the conference, this hack day?
The day before.
Yeah, it's a day before industry day, so that means it's
okay.
The hack day is on June 12th, and then 13 is industry day, and 14, 15 is the main conference.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's 120 euros here. Just seeing that. Yeah. But as organizers, we might be able to get some free tickets for this one. I have no
Yeah.
idea about the main conference.
That'd be sick.
Yeah,
Then we could just get like the expo ticket, and we wouldn't be too bad out of pocket.
Yeah, I think last time for the conference ticket there was also that Spiral had a couple of tickets.
And we had the
I
booth,
think.
and the booth came with a few tickets, and we got gifted the
and
booth, and then that's how that worked out.
exactly. But I mean that's something that I think we can figure out with the organizers, that people who actually do something or provide value to this day, they should get a ticket.
Yeah, yeah, especially if you make a really strong point about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and last time, for instance, I think I got an industry pass from for the main conference as well. I only had a GA pass, but yeah, it's going to depend on how many people and what the involvement and the role is. But I think, or I hope, we can figure something out for people who actively participate.
Remember this, Michael? We tried to figure out in the hotel how big the room was that we had, and then what furniture we could get. We tried to talk to different sofa providers because all the hotel had, what by default, were these kind of crappy, not crappy, but very basic tables, and we wanted to make it really feel more like a design lounge. So we were going through these exercises and trying to figure out how we could configure the room with around the stage and what the lighting would be like and where to put the projector and all of this stuff. And then you went to the hotel, like, this is basically the room. Like, this is a default setup of the room. We didn't want that, right? We wanted to get these different sofas, which we ended up getting. A lot of these sofas is what we ended up getting into the room.
Yeah.
So we really changed the feel of this space from something that, and we were the only track that did that. So we kind of had a unique thing happening there. And the light was dark, and we had like LED strips in the corners. And Michael, you had like this thing that creates like it's like some kid's toy for a kid's room that projects like lights on the ceiling and stuff. But it created a pretty different feel.
I have a sunset.
My daughter turns it on every night. Still. I already told her that I'm gonna need it for a couple of days, for a day in June.
Yeah. So I mean, organizing that. I mean, that's like some real event organization there. It was kind of intense last year, but it was because we really tried to do a lot and we'd never done it before. But I think it should be easier this year.
Yeah, this year definitely. Also because we know the location, we know how big the room feels like. I mean, we did all of this without really knowing. I was the only person who actually saw it physically in person, and so I think there are a lot of learnings that we won't have to do again. So should be we can hopefully focus more on the actual programming.
Any other thoughts? Or?
Well, for the main conference, maybe having Bitcoin design T-shirts, some kind of swag would be good if we don't have a booth. So that could be something to consider, to stand out a bit during the conference.
Yeah, I'd love to do a second edition of this card game and get it printed more properly, because I got the cheapest print done and it wasn't that great. Just do another round of that would be fun, and maybe a proper box that we can then with a description or something. That was fun. Everyone who played the game had a lot of fun, including some Bitcoin Core developers too. So that was a good one. We could do pillows again, and yeah, the swag would be cool. With swag, we And I still think it would also be kind of cool if we have a flag that we could plant somewhere as a hangout place.
Yeah.
Loic and Tanishka, what do you think?
Is it a game about Bitcoin or is it a game about what? The card you just show up on under you. I mean, on your back.
Sorry, what's behind me?
Yeah, I was saying, is it a game about Bitcoin or is it about what? Never seen
Okay,
it.
so this is about Bitcoin design specifically. It's a collaborative game where you can only win together. Like all the three, four, five people have to play together, and the point of the game is to solve problems. And the problems you come across are kind of typical things that you might encounter in kind of a Bitcoin uh, um, project. So, for example, you might have a patchwork design. How do you solve it? With a design sprint and a design system. Or, there's too much tech lingo in your project. What do? You ask questions and you simplify. Or let's say you have too many feature requests. Like, what do? You get a project manager and you create a roadmap. And there's a bunch of like, your users' keys get stolen. You work on self custody and cold storage. So it's a mix of kind of design problems, um, Bitcoin things like let me see. There's like on chain and Lightning. There's a bunch of Bitcoin specific stuff. There's some stuff about design, some stuff about kind of typical open source project things. So the idea was that anyone who contributes to a Bitcoin project, whether it's a designer or project manager or developers, they can kind of identify things in there that they've come across, that they've kind of dealt with in a way. You have like your project's hard to contribute. What do you do? You have a solo project. You need contributors. What do? You go on a podcast to get attention, and you organize a hackathon to get some people chipping in. So that was kind of the idea. And in the game, then you have to give each other those cards to complete the project. So that was that idea.
Okay. I don't. I find it so interesting. So if I understand, you have played this game last year, right?
Yes, we very quickly, within 2 or 3 weeks, we created all of this stuff using AI, of course. We had them printed at 10 very cheap versions through some online printing website. And then we took some of them to give them to a few people, like some specific people we wanted to say thank you to. And then we also played we had a coffee break at the hack day. That's when we rearranged the room a bit to have more, instead of more of like an audience setting, we had more individual tables where people could gather around. And then we had a few people who were kind of strategically positioned, try to invite people to play this game together. So we tried to turn it into like a coffee and card game session there as kind of a break in between some of the talks.
So cool. It will be so amazing to play it again this year. Last year I got a ticket to be there, but unfortunately, I don't get my visa so
Mm.
earlier. So I give the ticket to another people on Twitter, and he was there and made me feel bad that it was great. But this year I don't know how to attend the conference, but I'm still thinking about find a way to join. And yeah, maybe we meet you and we're gonna do some great game together.
Yeah, that would be cool. Are you, I've, which, there's one conference that does this. They have like free tickets for open source contributors or something, right?
Mm.
Yeah, the BTC conference does.
Yeah, I think all of this stuff helps, but I don't know. It might be scheduling for you. It might be visa stuff or something else. Yeah, let us know. Would be cool if you could make it this
Yeah,
year.
even I was applying for visa and they were asking that if I have a proof that I'm going to this conference or anything else. So we just have the ticket and not any official thing to show them. So it's just get very difficult when you're applying for visa.
Oh, that's tough. Even it's not even like a tourist visa thing where you can just be there for a few days. You need specific proof.
Yeah, like it's specifically for the third world countries, you know. Like
Yeah.
if you're coming from Asia or Africa or some place like that, there's a issue with a visa or that. Like maybe you can walk your way through sometimes, but like even I was getting this issue because you remember I asked you about like what are the settings of BTC Prague now. So after that I started thinking about visa, and I talked to the officials for a while before actually applying for it. So they asked me for the documents there.
Okay. So a ticket is not enough. There would have to be something from. You'd have to be invited as a speaker, or
No,
Yeah,
not as speaker. It just
but
can be an official invitation that you're invited here, and this is
yeah, but
legit.
like we
Like
can take this conversation. Hi, I'm Dulce Villarreal, Bitcoiner, working the space for a little bit. Um, um, I am the founder of Libre Satoshi, and I send my students to conference in the US, and I have a lot of personal experience with Visa. We can take this aside, and I can
Mhm.
give you some advice, personal advice. But actually, what I'm gonna say to everyone is like, if you apply for a visa and you are not a speaker, probably your visa is gonna be rejected. That's something it happens, and like I say, happy to share my email and talk about it. But it's not enough to be invited to a visa. Actually, one woman for India, she got um, the visa because she was invited for MIT to be a speaker. But a lot of the people who apply for a visa from Africa, Latin America as just assisting, they all got rejected. Then it's not as simple. Then happy to talk with you later. That's
Mhm.
it.
yeah, I
So that
totally agree.
means you need to kind of to make sure that you get the visa, you should have a something like really a kind of a speaker invitation or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. But even as a speaker invitation, it has to be not any conference. It has to be a solid conference, maybe Bitcoin Magazine or MIT Bitcoin Blockchain Conference, something solid. I'm gonna say, like, if it's better if it came from a university conference, because we in Libre Satoshi is a Bitcoin technical school, and Kala from Africa, we got a lot of people who got rejected, and that's what we are only sharing our experience, right? And we want everybody get the visas. Yeah, I'm gonna say hi, by the way, just quickly.
hi there. Good to see you again. It's been some time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well,
I'm
thank you.
busy.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I wonder, Michael, if we could ask your contacts, the conference organizers, what their experience is and if they have any recommendations on this. Maybe they have a certain, maybe they have this from last year. They already have this figured out and can say, here's what's possible, here's what's not possible, provide some clarity.
Yep, writing it down.
Dulce, we are speaking about BTC Prague right now. We can
Okay.
also speak about the Designathon if you'd like, but so far our topic has been BTC Prague, which is a little bit
Um,
closer.
it's okay. I'm happy to listen and just learn from you guys. Yeah, I will try to go to BTC Prague. I've never been in Prague.
Yeah, see if you can make it. Michael will said earlier he'd be happy to give everyone a tour.
Yeah. Well, last time it was kind of after work drinks because there was an after party after the main conference on Saturday, and we did the tour on Sunday afternoon, and everybody was kind of slow and or hungover. So it was kind of just a stroll through the city, but happy to do that again.
Yeah. So I mean, we have about 15 minutes left on the call. So something very practical is, if anyone wants to help organize, Mo will probably, she's on vacation right now. She'll probably also help organize. We kind of split things up into a few buckets. There was talks, which there could be two parts: finding people who you'd like to speak or be represented, and this is for the hack day specifically. So probably less general like Bitcoin stuff, more specific to builders. Or if you'd like to do a talk, you can also put yourself in there or recommend or tell someone that they should do a talk. Ideas for workshops. Even if you don't want to do a workshop yourself, the ideas are a big thing, like an accessibility thing or a Fediment one, or maybe something very design specific that's less technical. That's something else. This is for Prague. Yeah.
We can organize a ProDes, like it's called a product design hackathon or something like that. And you can just do it like you can just give a problem statement and people can design a product or something around that idea.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we have time for that. We have a fairly small room for Michael. What was it, like 8 hours or
It's
so?
more like a fun thing. Like we used to do it in our college, like we still do it, but like it was more like Apple is a brand, right? It's for tech stuff. So you just imagine it as a drink, and how will you preach it or brand it if it was a drink? The yeah, so we do it, and it actually turns out good. Like it actually helps you to think more around it. Like how will you brand things out
Yeah,
if it was totally different?
Yeah, that's these things are really good because they get people kind of making stuff and thinking about things and also collaborating and mingling a little bit. We did that last year. So Stephen organized kind of this design battle, he called it, which was very, very intense. But yeah, I've also been part of this at kind of a design sprint sessions. Let's just call it collaborative design session. So /design hackathon.
The other suggestion on the same topic is how to teach, like share the knowledge of how to facilitate a design sprint. Like I do design sprints with my developers before I start coding, and then but as a designer or as a PM, we have to teach other people how to do it. Otherwise, they don't feel comfortable doing. And I have the material already. Like if somebody one, I don't know if I'm going, but somebody's going, I can share my material.
That's a good one. Design process, which is often a mystery.
Yeah, I wanted to do. I think design sprints could also be something that's really interesting to this audience that's going to be there, right? Already kind of technically savvy people, already pretty involved, and that could be a good fit. I was also last year thinking about doing a workshop or a session about user story mapping, and we didn't do that. So that could also be something hands-on where you can involve the audience for people who want to learn it and be more practical, and you can do it in 45 minutes. But,
Yeah.
I think in the document I linked to the previous ideas that we have had as well, but we didn't get to them.
Oh yeah.
One thing I observe, I'm going to explain what I'm doing. I observe like a lot of people let's say they have X amount of Satoshis in a wallet, like in a software, maybe a hot wallet, and with the price increase, they feel anxious and nervous about having so much money in a wallet. Then there is a transition between a hot wallet and a cold hard wallet. I'm doing myself like workshops to teach multisig using hardware wallet, and it's something I can work with somebody. I think I research and there is not enough guides, like literally guides with a good illustration about how to do it. Like it's only videos of YouTubers, but there is not something that you can something professional like you can open and it's a 2 or 3 1 or like kind of still one page for a multisig that you can follow and you can feel release. No, you have to watch the video of a YouTuber and you don't know if it's good or not. That's something I'm working myself on that, and I'm starting teaching uh, that. Like I'm getting experience, right? Like I'm going to start doing that, and I think for June I can be ready to share some knowledge on that.
I'd love to see that. I was always wondering
Yeah.
if we should have kind of if the Bitcoins in Time community would also be in a good position to create a Bitcoin user guide where it's specifically those things. It's very simple. Like here you how you do basic backups. Here how you set up a multi-sig. Here's how you use Lightning. Here's how as a merchant you do X, Y, Z, and just very simple, maybe visual, maybe like an airplane thing where it's like mostly pictures and people and where you can do it from all kinds of different languages. You can understand what's going on and feel comfortable doing
Yeah.
that.
And now with ChatGPT and Canvas and all these things, like we can just translate super easily to different language, and people in the meetups they can use it.
Mm.
Mhm.
I have an idea for a talk. I was looking into the income difference across the world between high and low income countries, which is like 200x or so, and how that affects usage and affordability of different Bitcoin technologies and all of that. I find that really interesting, and that should really define how we build a lot of products and what tech to build.
Yeah, on that, I think another part of it is also like I think Rodolfo or NBK was kind of talking about this when he was in Costa Rica about how some of the Bitcoin apps they just weren't working with the average data connection speeds over there. So he's like, if you're designing all these really great Bitcoin apps, but they require a lot of bandwidth, they're useless in large parts of the world. So he was emphasizing that some apps like Primal, how they have the built-in wallet, was one of the few ones that were working down there. That kind of feeds in.
Yeah, I think it was in the Bitcoin.review podcast that he hosts. I think like once a month or so. It's actually a really, really, really good podcast. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a talk probably in the main conference around kind of Miniscript and very newbie oriented kind of Frost Miniscript, kind of what's coming up in kind of these multisig world. So something about that could also be in here. I was also thinking about maybe teaming up with Liana, or if they're going to be there, to maybe do a usability session for the Liana wallet. But then again, these are not, something like that. Yeah, and what I don't know if you had the same feeling, Christoph, but I think the kind of it was a very tight schedule that we had with a lot of sessions, and maybe it's worthwhile to have fewer planned things to maybe say, okay, in the mornings there's going to be like the talks, maybe just a couple, like 3 or 4, or something like that. And then the afternoon is going to be more practically oriented. But there was a lot going on, and also on the hack day I didn't see anything else.
That's very true, and I think the organizers even mentioned that they don't want this to be just talks where people listen, but they want to see this as a way for people to get to know each other and learn from each other and make connections and maybe do things together.
Yeah.
So that, all of these interactive things are probably good ideas. I mean, last year we also had these ideas about having a wall that's just post-its where people put their ideas or leave feedback on different products and all of this stuff, where it really becomes, something where like really interactive space, where at the end you kind of see a reflection of the people that were there and all of that. But with a lot of ideas that we didn't end up creating or going with.
What if, just an idea, we have the logo, like is one page for each product that say it's the logo, what it does. People can go and test the logo, but also with a QR, they can download the app or test the product. But also, if they already are user of the products, they can go with a QR and add feedback. In that way, we can process all the information very, very fast, because with the stickers, then you have to capture all the information by hand and kind of process the information. But if it's already written, like let's say it's a G form, and say, okay, just for the sake of time, Sparrow, what is your feedback for Sparrow? And then we can just easily NPL models, or just even data clouds to say what are the pain points. Like we can analyze that information very easy because it's going to be in a database. Then even people who are not in the conference, who cannot assist at the conference but are part of the design community, they can feel like they are part of the design community because they are working on that. And we can have like an end product or an end conclusion at the end of the event. That's just an idea. It's like a wall of feedback, but very digital, with QR codes as long.
Yeah, I think especially if you can mix in some. I mean, they'll all be very technical people. It's a hack day after all, right? So if you can make it playful and introduce some technical elements, then people might have a good time with it.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it, but there is a bot in Discord that can give you sats. If you have somebody who is like a wizard in Discord, what I would do is maybe do it with a survey bot in Discord, and after you submit a survey, your feedback maybe can give you 21 sats. I will do that, but that's more complicated, right?
Something we did last year was we created Nostr badges. So people at the hack day or at the booth, they could message the Bitcoin Design account if they showed up. There was like a little sheet and said, "Hey, I